started saying nigger.
Good evening. Welcome to your Ass Hurts News Network, coming to you live from the tip top of Cock Tower Square with your host, Sergeant Friday. Sarge, how you doing?
Well, yeah, if I were any better, I would change my name to Cletus.
Well, that would be, you can aspire, all right? You can aspire to reach that level.
Can I just say that I do? I hit many of my goals every time we run a show. I don't know if you guys are aware of that or if it's even something I should share, but this is an open forum between the two of us, right?
Yeah.
And some of my goals are to get people to fucking hate me.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty good at that.
Yeah. I would say that you're probably up there, and you're in the upper echelon of motherfuckers that can do that quickly.
Well, I don't know if that's a compliment, ladies and gentlemen, but you heard it here.
You definitely get
giving me the award of assholeism.
Yeah, you definitely get more than the participation ribbon. How about that? You're a top contender.
So word on the streets are a few people are offended by my mannerisms and comments and directed frontal attacks against their ignorance. Is that true?
Yeah, I heard some rumblings of such. I did.
Well, are any of the rumblings, should I be scared?
I don't know that you should be scared. I mean, just people expressing their opinions.
Oh, okay. Well, listen, I'm going to say to you that there is a truth to the reality when you say love and hate are so close that they're almost indistinguishable.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And so there's no way I can lose. You either love me or hate me, and in both circumstances, I come out the winner. What say you?
Yeah, the opposite of both is indifference.
Which I pretty much have an indifference to. Yeah, maybe I don't have much of an indifference. What are you eating, co-host? Well, you got that toilet seat hanging around your neck, you third worlder?
I'm drinking my water. Thank you, sir.
I'm sorry. Pardon me. Well, we got 41 people in here. I got 40. We got 41 people here across 3 platforms. So we're not really kicking ass, but we're gonna at least take names. So have you been paying attention to the criminals in charge, questioning the criminals in charge that are going to investigate the criminals in charge with more criminals that will be in charge? Have you been paying attention to that?
I did not have time today to pay attention to it, but I have no doubt that it was just jaw-dropping.
Well, this is the difference between people that pay attention and people that don't, and that's fine. But yeah, the Congress, which really are our representatives in a representative republic such as we exist under, right? And they were asking some pertinent questions, and this woman eventually answered a bunch of questions, but she had to be browbeat for hours until even the limited information she gave us came out of her being browbeaten to death, even by some Democrats, although many Democrats, as we all know, Democrats, the party of hate, are automatically talking about gun control because, that's the issue. Let's not talk about this man getting shot in the face. Let's not try to address how that could have happened, and let's jump right to the gun did it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they should have had social workers on that roof.
Oh yeah, having a conversation with the guy. Tea time. I would have supplied the Chase loungers for him. I mean, I could be a very generous.
Yeah, that cop that stuck his head up over the edge of the roof should have had better training in, addressing mental health issues in real time, right? Then it wouldn't have been an issue.
See what Lucky said? Someone did say that to her. Go back and guard Doritos. Because she came from PepsiCo. And they make Doritos. So somebody told her to go back.
The only thing I did see, I'm guessing it happened pretty early, because this was pretty early in the day, that I saw this little clip of some congressman said, you should resign, and if you won't resign, Joe Biden should fire you.
Right.
And at the end of the day, that's all I really needed to hear, because at that point, that's a mic drop moment where everybody should have just got up and left the fucking room. You don't really need to say anything else. You don't need to sit there all day and bash her. You don't need to sit there all fucking day and spend all of that time.
Well, that's not what they were trying to get answers of things we do need answers to, Cletus. Even that who's that one, that hyper chick, that blonde that goes crazy? I forget her name now.
Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Yeah. She was even on point with her questions, even though she was right. I think she'd pummel that woman on camera just for the fun of it. I think you wouldn't be a hard sell to get Marjorie Taylor Greene to jump over the fucking podium.
She's like the Bullhorn Betty of fucking Congress.
Holy fuck, is she ever, bro? But today she was on point.
She is so much reminds me of her.
Oh my god! But at least she's trying to shout for good. Where Bullhorn Betty is still trying to get over her fucking. I don't know. Maybe we're right.
Shout for good or not. I mean,
wonder
if you're a fucking lunatic, you're a fucking lunatic. And I think Marjorie Taylor Greene, in my opinion, is a fucking lunatic. But whatever.
Yeah, AOC. Even I would hammer AOC. I'd love to hook up with her. I'd give that broad a fucking ride.
But my problem is, why are you trying to get answers or demanding anything from somebody that, quite honestly, shouldn't even be sitting in Congress having questions asked to them? It makes no sense. To me, I look at that and I go, why do I don't care what else she has to say. At the end of the day, she said enough. She's done enough. Get her the fuck out. Bring somebody in that has one task, and that's to find out what the fuck happened in 7 days.
There should be a public commission stood up to observe what these fucking people are doing, that report back to us unbiasedly. So, like, there is a value to listening to this stuff, because even a scumbag like that stumbles and fucks up and says things they probably shouldn't, right? So a couple of the things that I derived from her statements, I'm pretty comfortable in accepting that there was one shooter that fired 8 shots from that roof.
I'm sorry, I'm distracted by Carl's comment. That shit's funny as fuck to me.
Well, no, he did do it on National Ice Cream Day. So her statements and refusing to answer how many shells that were found in relation to that lone shooter, how many spent shells, casings were found, was not answered. But later she was kind of cornered with the question, is this connected to another foreign government power or a conspiracy of any other sort, or is it connected to one shooter? And she goes, it's one shooter. And he says, well, how can you know that? She goes, I know that. He goes, well, how can you know that conclusively? She says, the FBI has that information. So because of the way she answered some of her questions, I derived from her statements that they do have 8 shells on that building, on or around that building. I suspect that the FBI is going to report they found 8 spent casings. And that's important, because that then gets rid of all this bullshit about the water tower and all these fucking professional sniper details that are on Twitter. I don't know why they're on fucking Twitter with all the professional background they claim to have, but there you have it. And so they're spreading these rumors that again, it's and even Ron Johnson. You guys don't think that these politicians aren't as infected as you? He's one of the 5.62 billion morons that brought that water tower up today on Marta Bologna, whatever that woman is on Fox, that Italian chick. Anyway, he brought it up there, and they also brought it up in the hearing. So the confusion, the chaos, the conspiracy theories that get all the attention and suck up all the air in the room, what a clusterfuck everything is. And then we wonder why the people that we've employed to do the job do it as badly as they do.
I mean, here's a question, and this is a serious question. Can this woman spell and type?
I can't confirm. I cannot confirm.
Because at the end of the day, if she didn't come in after providing a report as to what happened, I think today was an entire waste of taxpayer money.
It's not a tire waste. I'll tell you why. Because there's a lot of good things that come out of this that we now know. For instance, they record all communications.
You made a conclusion based off of half statements.
Correct.
So how much
correct.
did you really find out?
The conclusion, though, is being worked towards. But there's what was I going to say? You just threw me off of what she did say that was conclusive. We now know the kid rode a bicycle there. We now know he had a backpack. We now know a timeline that we never knew before. Most of that comes from local police and things, but we also know, man,
Wait a
you
minute.
threw me off of my thought.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I can't remember it now. It'll come to me in the middle of some conversation about a monkey or something.
Rode a bicycle there from where? His van?
His car. Yeah.
Okay.
He rode a bike. The bike, he had backpacks. He'd been observed for an hour and 1 minute. Oh, here's what I wanted to point out. If you want a basis to fire somebody, the whole hearing was, she provided that basis to whole hearing when she said that there's a level of suspicion and a level that reaches a threat. And someone said to her, when does suspicion reach a threat? She goes, when it becomes an obvious threat. And right then and there, the hearing should have been stopped. And somebody should have said, someone take this woman to a fucking medical facility. Because I know for a fact, Cletus, if you or I are considered suspicious and a Secret Service protectee is coming to our area, they're going to come fucking knocking on your door. So here's the point. How do you go from suspicious to threatening? And here's what if you're a security detail, folks, suspicious is what you're there to find. You're not there to find a threat. You're there to find suspicious behavior, suspicious activity that you then run to the ground. They call it run at the ground. You confront the people. You go to their home. You do the things that you need to do to decide whether this suspicious person's activity is consistent with a likely threat or not. You don't wait for a suspicious person to become a threat as a security team before you engage it. And it seems like nobody on the committee had any fucking sense whatsoever to even bring that point forward. Suspicion is all you need by the Secret Service to come knocking on the door. You've heard how many times has that happened to people, right?
Yeah.
You've heard that's happened.
Yeah.
You start talking some stupid shit about hurting somebody that's had a Secret Service detail around them, and they're going to come on knocking. They're going to want to see your phone. They're going to ask you to cooperate, and if you don't, And here, so anybody suspicious on that property, around that property, in that fucking state that was anywhere near that rally, their job was to confront them people or person, and they didn't do it. So that tells you you're right. The woman should be fired, not just because Trump got shot, but because even the training of the detail is so substandard. And her argument is that there's a difference between suspicion and an actual threat. That's her argument as to how this kid survived out there for an hour and 1 minute until he got his fucking head blown off. That's sickening, bro.
Yeah.
That woman is in charge of an agency that does security because, I mean, come on. If there's someone suspicious in a 7-Eleven, don't you think the cashier or the security guard's watching them in a mirror? Or may even approach them? I mean, they might even approach you, right?
You're right.
And, okay. That's what drove me nuts about the hearing, that not a single person asking questions or even people that disagreed with her vehemently made the connection that when she was saying suspicious and then threat, there's two different levels, but both levels require the same thing, a direct interaction, a direct interceding on behalf of your protectorate. You then intercede yourself between yourself and that suspicious person. You put yourself in that person's face. You don't wait to him to display a gun or a knife or an explosive. If you wait for that, like we saw on Saturday, you waited too long. So that part of the training, that just so you, in my opinion, that particular argument that she's making leads me to feel, I don't know it, but I do kind of feel that there is some kind of lackadaisical conspiracy afloat and that they didn't protect and probably haven't been protecting him properly. And if this day were to come, it were to come. Do you follow me?
Mm-hmm.
So if he's shot and killed, the detail around him, for whatever reason, the way it was behaving, and I think some professionals should get the security footage of other rallies and see if that holds any water, because that's the sense I got from it. It wasn't that they were conspiring with Iran or Russia or Hillary Clinton to kill Trump, but it was as if the people that were assigned to her were just good enough or ordered in ways that left an opening. And I think you'll find that at other rallies if people gave them scrutiny. And I think someone should give them scrutiny.
Well,
right?
here's the thing. Maybe I just am uninformed and just don't understand the purpose of these congressional hearings. What are the possible outcomes from a hearing like that? Like what's the output of it?
Well, here's the
What do you
output of it: is if enough people, like I keep saying, if enough of us come together and enough people pay attention to the facts being released and stop all these conspiracy theories. So you're
No, but
right.
what
And now,
I'm
typically, there is no benefit to it. That typically nothing happens.
okay, so it's a dog and pony show and an opportunity for a room full of people, elected officials, to question and talk about something with someone of interest. But they don't have authority to do anything about anything.
No, one congresswoman came forward today and said she wants the committee to review her testimony and charge her with perjury because she's
Okay.
perjured herself at least twice here today. So they do have the power. The
Okay.
question is, will they exercise it? But again, if the voters listen, if we don't, that's why I keep saying, if we don't start getting together and putting out our noise and directing it at the places it can be directed, then like you brought up the whitehouse.gov, did you send an email?
I haven't yet. No.
Mm-hmm. And neither have I.
But
So listen. Neither have I. No, wait. And this is where we fall down on ourselves, and that's what I mean. There's moments we join hand in hand with the 5.62 billion morons. We got to admit that, right? It's just that we're not moron 24/7. Maybe 2 hours, 3 days a week, right? What is Cole saying in the background? I heard something come out of that.
no, she didn't say anything. I think you're hearing the puppies.
Oh, okay. I heard something in the background. What's that all about? So, in your opinion, if we had to guess, how many people did I piss on?
Oh, I don't know how many were in here.
I don't know. I was hoping to piss off a lot. That's the best way to get known. You just start pissing
I
people
was
off.
gonna say maybe all but 2 or 3,
Oh,
probably.
that's
I
fucking
don't know.
awesome, bro.
I wasn't here for it, so I don't know what
But
the
it's
fuck
helped me. I've got 104. We look at we've got 146 viewers in here right now. If you
Look at
guys don't
there.
mind, and if you're on YouTube, hit the like. If you're on Twitter, you could tell me to go fuck myself. I don't mind. And if you're on Rumble, there's one of you in there, and I suspect it's me because I got the channel held open. I think I'm going to discontinue Rumble unless there's got to be a way to use that to get more exposure. But everybody says it's better than YouTube. Yet I got 22 followers, so yeah, it works wonderful.
I don't know nothing about it.
Yeah, well, you could stream across multiple platforms, and so I took that option. I bought the software for that option, not knowing Rumble would be the weakest link. We got 92 views over at on X, and we have I don't know how many on Twitter, 60, something like that. Or not Twitter, I mean YouTube.
YouTube, yeah.
We got 52 watching, 22 likes. If you don't mind, hit that like. It gets my irritating, aggravating fucking I'm gonna hurt your ass fucking noise out into the algorithm. And that's kind of good for most of us, especially Democrats that are absolutely the party of hate. Right? If you don't agree with them on global warming, you must hate the planet. You blah 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 blah. Right? You're a murderer. You're killing wildlife. You're destroying the earth. I don't know. There's got to be some kind of slang word for people that are killing the earth. They'll come up with one. I probably shouldn't have mentioned it. But yeah, they just love to hate. That's all they know how to do. What do you think, Claves?
Yeah, I can't argue with the fundamentals of what you're saying. I do have a question for you though.
Okay, all right.
Speaking
Let's
of
see.
Democrats,
Do I have to answer, or am I given the option?
no, you're gonna fucking answer because I said so.
Yes, boy. Yes, Master. Yes.
What do you think about Biden withdrawing from the race?
I think that's a good move, and I think he'll also resign the presidency in October and put Kamala Harris in his replacement. I
You
think they've
think
got
so?
a good. Oh yeah, I think that would be the wisest thing to do. You know what I said in 2016 before the vote was cast?
What's that?
The month of October. Do you know who if you had to guess whose life was more? There was one human being on Earth that their life was in more jeopardy than any human being I can even comprehend of in the history of the known world. So in 2016, before the vote, What one man's life was in jeopardy more than anyone else's in the history of the world? Do you know the name of that man?
Trump?
Wrong.
Who?
William Jefferson Clinton. Because had she taken him out and made it look like an accident or an illness, she would have got the sympathy vote and won.
Mm.
The whole month of October, I was waiting for Clinton to kick out somehow. Bill. But do you see the sense in what I'm pointing out? How she would have won from the sympathy vote?
So how does that relate to Kamala potentially taking
well, and the thing with Kamala, her October surprise could be, I don't know that it is, but could very well be Biden stepping down and turning over the reins of the presidency to her before the election. It doesn't have to be October. It could be any time between now and then. But I suspect that is actually part of their strategy. And they're going to hope to get that she's a sitting president. And we'll probably be nuked at that point. But, I mean, until then, there's still T-bones from Wild Fork, 10% off. And there's a swimming pool, and I got a fast car, and I don't know. I can bend over and kiss my ass goodbye, I suspect. What about you, please?
I don't know if I can quite get there, but I could make an attempt at it nonetheless.
Let me say, here's another thing that's interesting. In the Republican primaries, the only way to win is to win enough delegates from enough states to get you to a number of victory. So whatever the number is, we'll call it 10. Okay. So we'll call it 100. There's 100 delegates grab, and there's 10 people running, and the guy, you have to get to 51. So a lot of people are going to drop out, a lot of delegates. In other words, you got to get the majority of these 100, and that person wins. But it is not like that in the Democratic Party. And what a lot of Democrats forget or choose to ignore is during the 2016 cycle with Hillary, when all that scandal came out about them screwing Bernie with the superdelegates. Remember that? And then Debbie Wasserman Schultz got fired from being the head of the DNC. Hillary Clinton and the DNC both came forward and told the voter, it's not your votes that select the candidate. We select the best candidate for the party. So in other words, it don't matter who you vote for. We have 775 delegates that no matter who we pledge them for, will push them over the top. And that's exactly how it works in the Democratic Party. The voters total, in other words, so Bernie, here's an example so people understand this. Bernie was going to beat Hillary on the ground for delegate count. He won more delegates campaigning through the states. But the 775 superdelegates that were pledged to Clinton not only brought her beyond Bernie, but to the number you need to win the delegate, to be the delegate.
Huh.
That's what they did for Hillary. Bernie actually won the primary, or was going to win the primary on the ground, and they fucked him. And so now here we go with Biden. And I think that there is an internal problem inside the thing. Obama, I haven't seen him come out and support her. Have you?
I haven't really seen anything other than the fact that he withdrew and is pledging his support for her.
So you guys voted for Biden, not Kamala. And now Biden is going to tell you it's Kamala. And some people will be okay with that because it seems like a natural thing. She was going to be her vice president. But the question is, if Kamala would have ran the primary instead of Biden, would Kamala have been selected from a field of candidates? Now, we already know the answer to that is no, because she lost to Joe Biden. That's how she got to be vice president. Remember, she ran against Joe Biden in 2020 and got slaughtered.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if she ran this year and Joe wasn't going to be on the ticket, you could pretty much rest assured that she would not have been the chosen person.
Yeah.
Just because she's vice president doesn't make her entitled to that position that Joe is handing her. But more importantly, that position may never have been elected to her by the people that voted. Now, the superdelegates would have made the difference. But it's possible that they would have given overwhelming support to someone like Governor Newsom in California. There were a lot of guys that could have ran. If in other words, they knew Biden wasn't going to run, do you think Kamala would have been their next choice? I suspect not. And I think that's causing trouble in the Democratic Party. The hierarchy, not the voter.
Do you think she will be their choice with
They
Biden stepping down.
They got to August 1st to make that for real. If there's an August 1st deadline on electing your chosen guy, I forget what I can't think of the name of the delegate. He's not a delegate. He's not a delegate. He's campaigning to be the presumptive. He's the nominee. The nominee.
Yeah,
the nominee by August 1st. There's supposed to be a Zoom call August 1st with all the important people that vote, and at that point, they have to either run with Kamala or not. And if anybody opposes Kamala and puts up a fight against her, it's going to be the shit show of the year. Of probably all of politics in American history. It's going to be a nightmare. So, but again, you're a Democrat. You're in a party that keeps telling you you're going to lose democracy, but you guys already lost it. You're too hateful to even see the truth. Your vote doesn't pick your delegate or doesn't pick your nominee. Your vote, only if it connects to what the superdelegates want, matters. The rest of you can, go suck Hillary's cankles for all they give a fuck. And that's not democratic. We're in the Republican Party. It is completely a democratic process. You win more delegates than the next guy. I think 1461 is the number you got to hit to win or something like that. And once any candidate hits that number, it's over. Right? Because there isn't enough left there ain't enough left out there to pass 1461. So no matter what happens, once a candidate hits that in the Republican Party, that's the magic number. You win. The Democrats are completely opposite of that. And that's to me is shocking that the Democratic Party that claims to promote democracy, that claims every vote must count, tells all their voters your vote only counts as much as the fucking people in charge decide. The white master of the fucking plantation. If his vote is aligned with yours, it's not because he agrees with you. It's because that's what he wanted. And you just happen to be fucking stupid enough to go along with it. It's a sad fucking world we live in there, Cleveland.
I don't disagree with that.
100 plus days through life. And I think that Kamala Harris has probably as good a shot or a better shot than Biden, in all fairness. What do you think?
I honestly couldn't tell you what I never dreamed Biden had a shot last time. So, that it kind of is what it is. I mean, I don't really have any faith in the fucking system because I can't support it with facts, but I don't understand how he won last time. So do I think she'll win? I don't know. I have no idea. I personally don't.
Yeah, I think the only way that she has a chance to win is to run on color, gender and color, and keep her shit out of the public view. Because that woman is she got destroyed in the primary. She's not an appealing person. The way she hackles and laughs and says stupid things and doesn't have answers and obfuscates, it's just so obvious what she's doing. And like she's one of those politicians, she only wants your vote. She that's it. She's going to do whatever the fuck she wants to do. And their voters, I think, are pretty conscious of that. But they also have been conditioned to hate Trump. So the question is going to be: is a black woman enough of a carrot to get people not to vote for Trump? That enough people hate Trump that they'll actually vote for the black female. That's the race that we have, because that's how it's going to be run. It's going to have nothing to do with her qualifications to have the job. I mean, if qualifications mattered, Joe Biden would have been resigned as vice president when he was with Obama.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
No, you're wrong, Gray Pearl. You never say no chance. You never say no chance. No chance. There's no chance they were going to. I mean, the fact they would get that shot off like that. No chance. No chance. Everything is possible. We live in a very dynamic time where all we do is sit back as spectators and whine about it. Please.
Well, I didn't think anybody liked Biden, but he's held the office for almost 4 years. So, somewhere, somehow, I was fucking wrong. So I don't know. I mean, you could chalk it up to a couple of different things, right? I mean, it may have been the media that the algorithm was feeding me, made me think nobody fucking liked him.
Michelle
So
Obama could be a vice president. I'm responding to the chat, not Barack Obama. Yeah, so I'm sorry for interrupting you, but
no, you're good.
people are
I was
saying
just saying
Obama needs to be.
I don't think anybody likes Kamala either, but I didn't, like I said, I didn't think anybody liked Biden. And whether you believe the election results or not, I can't argue that that there were way more fucking people voted for him than I ever thought possible.
That right there is the biggest fake misconception ever. Pallets of ballots is how. And the fact of the matter is, never night, that Joe Biden won that election because of the Republican districts voting. And if you and nobody ever even questioned examining a Republican district machine. That's the problem with that fucking 2020 election, is everybody instantly and completely believes the Democrats did all the cheating. And not one fucking sane person ever considered that the Republicans participated in the cheating. And if you look at that election, it's obvious the Republican fucking vote totals were not counted fairly. There's no way Biden could get 28% of a vote in a town in Texas that only drills oil. That's all it fucking does. There's no way 28% of that vote went for Biden when only 2% went for Hillary Clinton just 4 years earlier. You go look at how the voting Republican district is all fucked up. Trump won the district, but Biden got more Republican votes than any Democrat in history. You tell me that the fucking Republicans didn't help cheat Biden into office. Go ahead. And if you're unwilling to, if you refuse to understand that, then I don't want to have any topic or any more talk that the Democrats stuffed ballot boxes, and that's how they beat them. That's not fucking exactly how it happened. And the crucial thing that we need to accept as voters is our side's as corrupt against us as their side is. Like you're saying with these hearings, whatever happens. Right, Cletus? What happens with these hearings these jerk-offs have constantly?
Right. That's I don't understand the point of it.
Yeah, I agree. Don't. There should be a private, independent fucking commission of people.
Well, I don't even know so much of that it does. I don't necessarily think it has to be private. To me, this is a major fucking problem. And instead of having this person present what happened, you just have her sit in a fucking room of people that beat the shit out of her all day. While it may be entertaining to watch, what if there is no fucking outcome? I mean, we could sit and do that shit to her online all fucking day and get the same enjoyment from it. You know what I mean?
Here's the real problem, though. It's not even the bashing and stuff. Forget that. They find them in lies. They find evidence that shows them criminally complicit or committed a criminal act, which maybe a lot of people don't know this, but the Department of Justice unequivocally stated that Joe Biden and his son, illegally took money from foreign countries, criminally took it, criminally. And that they're not going to prosecute Joe Biden because of his age and mental condition. Now, let that fucking sit with you for a minute. They literally said, and they found that facts of findings proved that Joe Biden and his son, between China and Ukraine, illegally obtained fucking payments from them people. As a matter of fact, Hunter Biden helped sell a country of specific fucking manufacturing pieces that allow our submarines to be almost perfectly silent. And he got that company and an auto parts company to buy it, and all that technology now went to fucking China. Joe Biden's son did that. He arranged that. That's what the fucking Bidens and some of these politicians, this includes Mitt Romney, Marco Rubio, your fucking politicians on the right. All of these people are doing this to us. So when they have this investigation, and even if they show us 100 crimes, nobody gets held to account. That's the biggest problem. There is no accountability. All the conspiracy theory rumors fire up, all the indignation fires up, all the outrage fires up in us. And what do? We don't even have the sense to play with ourselves. That's how fucked up we are. Right? You'd be better off fucking playing with yourself all day. But no, don't do that. Sit on the internet and listen to somebody draw a map about a fucking water tower. Or somebody draw a fucking map about Banfield and cell phones and fucking pictures that are pixelated. They're asphalt reflections. Cletus?
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't see a whole lot of difference in all that and sitting and watching the hearing. I mean, I just don't fucking get it. Like, I really don't. I don't fucking understand the point in those things. To me, if the FBI is investigating this, okay, if they're the ones that are going to investigate this and figure out what the fuck happened, I don't need to hear from her, nor do I think they should waste time hearing from her. Like, it is what it is. I mean, she fucked up. She said some really stupid shit. The fact that she is still holding a public seat of any kind
It's
is
incredible.
yeah, it's ridiculous. And instead of getting rid of her, refusing to talk to her, we have an entire committee or whatever sitting and asking her questions and kicking the shit out of her. I don't care what she's got to say. I want to see it in a report from somebody whose job it is to find out what the fuck happened. And if that's the FBI, then produce it and let her go flip burgers at fucking McDonald's or something. I mean, I just don't understand it. I'm sure there were better things that Congress could have solved or at least worked on than spending all fucking day talking to this lady. It just makes no sense to me.
I agree with it and here's what we're being fed is the outrage. That Ron Johnson coming out and bringing up the water tower and all these other people bringing up unverifiable ideas. I think they're very awesome ideas to question. I think it's worth looking at, but I don't want your evidence unless the evidence is crystal clear. At this point, we have no doubt that kid was on the building pulling the trigger of that gun. That's unquestionable. Right?
Here's a fucking thought, right? If you know the FBI is investigating this, why bring it up in Congress instead of submitting a tip to the FBI? Hey, I see this shadow on this water tower. I think there's somebody there. I mean, I don't know. Whatever. I'll shut up about it. I just don't fucking understand it.
There is no one on the water tower.
Oh, I agree, but
say that again.
She said there is no one on that water tower, and I don't disagree.
Well, sure there is. Who are you to say there's not? Didn't you see that professional sniper fucking security guy that put together that big map and orchestrated all the video?
That person.
How dare you question him?
I can question him because I'm a fucking genius, apparently, compared to the rest of the world. That person on that tippy top of that water tower would literally have to be 20 feet tall. You know who took him out? Fucking Bigfoot. That's crazy. Yeah. There's no one on the fucking water tower.
Yeah. I know there's not. I don't disagree with you, and we're on the same page as that, but that's what's going to now take over this narrative. And the narrative is going to be a grassy knoll. Before this is all said and done, there's going to have been multiple shooters. But my question has to be, what the fuck were the other shooters doing? What were they doing when this kid railed out 8 fucking shots, 3 and then 5 in a row? What were they shooting at? Because you only hear one gun firing. You hear one gun discharge 3 quickly and then 5 more. Or were they like a fucking band? Did they have a fucking conductor? So those 5 shots sounded like they all came consecutively from the same rifle. Right? I mean, how the fuck did they accomplish that? You're right, Clue. People are so fucking led astray because they're so fucking unable to just pay attention to the truth.
Well, and the fact that an elected official is in Congress bringing that shit up.
And they're doing it to stir the pot in the public because they know that what you guys devour is outrage and what the other side devours is hate. You're the outrage mongers. They're the fucking hate mongers.
Well, in every thumbnail I have seen this evening about the subject of the hearing today has been geared toward that, right? It's been a title and a thumbnail that will get you to watch it because you're pissed off at the situation.
Right.
And I would suspect that none of them provide anything worth listening to. Like I said, the only one I heard was the guy say you should resign, and if you won't, Biden should fire you. That's all I needed to hear. I agree. I don't need to hear anything else.
Somebody on TV brought up the security failure in a South American country with the advanced team of the Secret Service. Remember, I've been saying that advanced, and they were arrested for dealing with prostitutes and shit down there.
Yeah.
And I keep telling people, you dumb motherfuckers, the accusation Trump hired 2 hookers in a Moscow hotel to do a golden shower on a bed that Obama slept in. The real story is it was the Secret Services in Colombia that did that, not Trump. So the truth of the story is the Secret Service hired hookers to have golden showers on a bed Obama slept in because they fucking hated Obama. That's the truth. And one of those agents is Dan Bongino's brother. So, people that want to go lick his fucking ass, good luck. Go hang out with that fucking drama fucking outrage dealer extraordinaire. He's like a circus fucking act, that guy. But ask him about his brother and what they did to Obama's bed in Colombia and why his brother got fired. The Secret Service has had problems for a long fucking time. This isn't new. And they're, that's why I get frustrated. Some of these talking heads have such a reach, but if you really look into them, like we should be looking into the, we should know the names of these people. Who actually dug up the names of the FBI office in Pennsylvania that dispatched 12 people to fucking Joe and 3 to Trump? These people's names are public. And who's out there digging to try to understand who made these decisions? What are they like? Do we have any information on them? I don't want these agents any harm to come to them, but you people, it's not that you fucked up. It's that you did your job so poorly that I would have rather had Doyle's security fucking guarding Trump.
Well, then at the end of the day,
heard of Doyle security, but they're just some fucking, they protect abandoned properties. They probably would have done a better fucking job than protecting Trump than the Secret Service.
I don't know. At the end of the day, all I want to know is how much longer are they going to pay this woman to run the Secret Service before they replace her? Like, I don't know. It's just crazy to me because I suspect it'll go on for at least another month.
Oh, more than that.
If not longer.
Until the next crisis comes around. And that's why these people delay and they don't give you answers and they give you all this drama and all this outrage. Listen, you're the top of the organization. And when someone asks you a question about how many shells were found in or near or around the shooter, how many spent casings, you should have that answer because answering that doesn't infiltrate your investigation at all. Okay, it could say 2 things. There was 8, or there were 4, or there were 3, or there were 5, right? Which then means your narrative is including other shooters. And there's nothing wrong with that. If that's true, we have a right to have that fucking information.
I mean,
right?
in fairness though, if the Secret Service is not conducting the investigation, that's not a fair question to ask her.
No, but she was briefed by the FBI on what they found. Here's later in the hearing, she admitted she knew the answers to the questions that she wasn't answering, this stupid bitch. She literally admitted she had the answers, but she chose not to share them.
Gotcha.
So my point is, listen, knowing how many casings are around them doesn't make me, look, I was right. It's got nothing to do with that. If there's 8, then we can rest a little bit at ease that he was the only shooter. If there's 5 or 3, now we got another shooter, right? And why not clarify that? So all of these goofballs on the internet just shut the fuck up with these conspiracy theories. And that's exactly why they won't clarify it, because they want all these people to create all these fucking conspiracy theories to get you all distracted and kept in a I don't know, in that moment of outrage that lasts forever.
Yeah, distraction prevents action. You won't, if you're distracted, you're not going to force them to fucking get rid of her.
Yeah, no, she's not answering any of the questions. Listen, my thing, and I stumble sometimes and wander, but suspicion is all you need to take prohibitive action or investigative steps. If I suspect that you just robbed a bank, right, I can stop you on the street and ask you some questions. You have the right to move on. But I, as law enforcement, have the right to pursue my reason for being suspicious of you. Now, and that's I mean, I don't get it with this fucking world.
You said she admitted that they had been watching him or had been aware of him for an hour.
An hour and 1 minute, maybe even more. There's even more information. I think that goes back before that, but that's a safe call right there.
Did she address what they did about being aware of him?
No, at one point they lost sight of him. But he was being reported as suspicious, and she said she couldn't define what that meant because she didn't make that assessment. We need to talk to that officer. Well, did you? No. Well, okay. Then she made the argument that the rules of engagement are when a threat presents itself, when an obvious threat or when a threat is present, that they can take lethal action or any other action they deem necessary.
And did the question get asked of would you not consider someone with a rifle on a roof that you should have been on?
Yeah.
Would you not consider that a threat?
Yeah, well, that question did eventually come up, but
Yeah.
my big issue is the suspicion was enough to chase the kid away from the rally at the very least. Tell him you
Yeah.
got to leave, you can't be here. And if he asked why, say, well, then look, we're Secret Service protection detail. We could tell you why down at the station, or you could just leave, right? I mean, they do have that power of intimidation.
Well, and I mean, in fairness to them, he wasn't in the secured zone. So potentially they could have done that, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, the secured zone was a failure in and of itself.
Because it excluded buildings that faced the stage. And gave it line
Right.
of sight.
Yeah.
That massive failure. But the biggest failure, I say, isn't even that. That could be covered with snipers from another roof, as evident by the man being shot, killed from another roof. The failure is that you didn't act when you found a suspicious character, because in the end, that suspicious character is the shooter. You follow me?
Yeah.
So what the fuck stopped you from acting for an hour? I don't know.
Did they at least address? So he rode a bicycle from his van to the event and had backpack
with a backpack. Yep.
Did they address where he had stashed the weapon?
No, but and they didn't tell us the model of the AR-15, because some of them do have removable stocks, do they not? Or foldable stocks? I don't know about the foldable, but I do think they have removable stocks.
I mean, could you disassemble one and reassemble one fairly quickly if you know what you're doing? Yeah. Could you fit everything you need to do so inside of a backpack? Yeah. Okay. Do I have any reason to believe that's what happened? No.
No, that's exactly what you should think, only because he did come to the rally on a bicycle with a backpack. So they saw him multiple times. They saw him without the backpack. They saw him with a rangefinder. They saw him on a bicycle with a backpack. Then they saw him on the roof. There's multiple instances of him being observed. And that's why I keep saying, when do you act on suspicion alone? Or is it unconstitutional? Because it's not. It's definitely not, right? And you're protecting the life of not just the president, but the fucking crowd, right?
Yeah.
In an environment that's heated and anyway, I'm very disgusted that none of them fucking people said, why didn't you act on the suspicion? I don't give a fuck if you thought he was a threat. Why didn't you approach this guy and bring him in a room and talk to him? Because they're doing that's security work right there, 101. You're either going to find a threat that needs to be eliminated, or you're going to prevent the threat from ever becoming a threat, because now he knows you're onto it, right?
So this comment on the screen talking about they're going to, there's a motion to impeach her, and it'll force a vote within the next 48 hours. So let's say that they vote to impeach her. Then what? She doesn't automatically leave office. There's still a possibility Biden's going to be like, nah, I don't think so.
Carl, DNA wasn't used in the original identification of the individual. It was the serial numbers on the right on the AR-15 that they traced, and it went back to his father, and they contacted the father. That's how they knew who this guy was. That's the process under which they identified him originally, was through the gun itself. Okay. So I don't know anything about. I know people say that they took his DNA and they figured out who he was real quick. That's not true. That's fake news.
I mean, that is what the news said. So,
but it's fake news. It was clarified. It was clarified in the hearing today.
So you're going to answer my fucking question now, since you
you're going to ask it again, so that this old man can hear
it. So somebody had put a comment on the screen saying that some politician had filed a motion of impeachment on her,
right,
and it would force a vote in the next 48 hours. But my question is, even if they vote to impeach her, that doesn't put her out of office. That just gets the decision to impeach her from Congress handed to Biden, does it not?
I think so, but Congress has to approve. So she's appointed, and then she goes through a hearing.
Right.
Okay. and she passed. So I mean, these people allowed her to be in the position she's in.
That's what I'm. Yeah,
might be a Senate hearing though. I don't know.
That was the other thing that I was thinking too. Is you're sitting here for you are essentially the people that chose her or approved her to be in the spot she's in, and you're kicking the shit out of her because she failed at it.
Right.
Who's kicking the shit out of you? Like the fuck.
It's all one big happy family. There is no separation of parties in Washington. There's only separation of personal interests.
Yeah.
And they try to blend them together. And then they put these arguments out. We get into these debates. We argue about all of this chaos with this incident with Trump being shot, and we're already up to 3 shooters. Cletus, I don't know if you heard that.
No, I hadn't heard anything.
So all of these conspiracy fucking people like Commie Jude and Harsh and fucking the guy with the ugly fucking nose rings and every other fucking twit that runs around with these conspiracy theories on these fucking crime cases. That's what's around that. Now there's going to be a grassy knoll. There's going to be I don't know, some other fucking horse shit that they're going to. Well, they got the water tower. That's our grassy knoll for the moment, right? Yeah, they impeached Mayorkas and nothing happened. You're right, nothing happened. But it's good.
Mayorkas is who she reports to, is he not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's already been impeached. So one idiot to another idiot. That's what I mean. The crooks are investigating the crooks. That's like asking the fox that you put in the chicken house, what's happening? Where are all the chickens going? I don't know, boss. I'll keep looking.
Oh, fucking hell.
Yeah, man. That's never going to change unless Americans start demanding these things be changed. And you can't do that at the ballot box. You have to do that using this internet. We have to come up with a system or a way to come together and build something that can be expanded upon. Don't worry about money. But some of us that are in this, we got 235 viewers. I don't know if you know that. Apparently, hating me is becoming popular.
Well,
for good people to come in here.
Hey, right? All publicity is good publicity.
Yeah, there's no such thing as bad publicity. No.
So let me just make sure I understand something. I want to make sure I firmly fucking grasp this. So Mayorkas has been impeached. This lady is undoubtedly going to be impeached, but both of them will undoubtedly continue to remain in their positions because ultimately the buck stops with Biden.
Right.
Is that? And the the only action we're left to take is to take some action to force him out of office, which would leave us with Kamala Harris.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
No, our options. There are no options. There is no action. Look.
Oh, fucking
there
hell.
Is no action. Like, here's another thing too, because I said I've been hanging out. I'm going to the different streams that are black. It's obvious. Okay. If I was a black person, I'd be furious over him paying off student loans because the majority of those loans are for white people that fucking agreed to the loan before they ever took the first class. They shouldn't get forgiveness of that debt. And if they are going to get forgiveness for that debt, then why aren't fucking blacks in equal numbers? Even if that means you have to add blacks that are coming to school yet to equal the whites. In other words, if you're going to do this, then it needs to be fair across the fucking board. If you're going to give 1 million white people a fucking pass on the college, you need to give 1 million fucking blacks, 1 million, or nobody gets it, and you just stick to your fucking original agreement, you dumb motherfuckers. Yeah. But he's buying votes and he's doing it for the whites.
You put the money into something that will improve. You put the money into something that'll improve the economy and create higher paying jobs for the people that graduate with the degree they got in the college that they took a loan out for.
You know what else came out today that was rather shocking? And for those of you that didn't do politics, she did a Hillary Clinton. She used her personal phone with encrypted apps to communicate with her fucking employees and with the departments. Her personal phone.
Who?
Not her FBI issued phone. Right? So if she's using encrypted apps on her personal phone, not her FBI issued phone with which she's supposed to conduct all fucking efforts. Let's be clear. They give you that phone because that phone is recorded. All your conversations, all your texts, everything you do is followed and kept. And you're only supposed to use that phone for official business. And she admitted today under oath that she's been using her personal phone with encrypted apps. It's like, what in the fuck is this? Who is this fucking lady? Those are the kinds of broads I have sex with all the time. These left-wing broads. They're just fucking all over the place. They snitch themselves out. They're too stupid to know up from down, but they're fun in bed. Incredible, Cletus.
Well,
What a fucking shit. Can you imagine admitting to something that they weren't even asking you if you were doing anything wrong?
I'm just,
And you,
I don't know. That's that's just fucking insane. And I suspect the real root of the problem is everybody sitting there grilling the hell out of her and kicking the hell out of her today are probably just as fucking dirty as she is when it comes to following fucking policy and procedure. You know what I mean?
right?
Like I'd say the odds are very slim that there is one person sitting in that fucking room today that's not guilty of something, some just egregious failure in their duties as she is.
Well, of course, but it's the leadership from the top down, right? Like that
Yeah.
fucking stupid cop detective John said. Well, you know, if we're on a major crime and one of these guys makes a mistake or does something wrong, I'm not going to report it if it isn't something serious or something big enough. Or like, who the fuck do you think you are, judge, jury, and executioner? You little prick. You're supposed to enforce the laws equally across all of us, including the guys that you're working with.
Well, you know where I think we went wrong? Back when Carnation did not select the slogan for their product that this 70-some-year-old lady I saw today, she recorded a message that said she just remembered the slogan from back when it was in a competition or something, and it was one of the leading slogans. But it was Carnation milk is the best of the land. It's the one in the can with the blue and red band.
Red and white.
Red,
white, and blue
red
band.
and white band, yeah.
Okay.
And it said, "No, what the hell was it?
No shit to push.
No shit to pull, no hay to pitch. Just poke two holes in the son of a bitch." That's the funniest damn thing I've heard in a while.
Yeah, I'd like to see that clip. I would actually present it, put it on the screen. That's awesome.
Yeah, and they this was not too hell. I guess it was recent. I think it was on a local news clip we saw, and yeah, they reached out to her and gave her $5,000, repaired her sidewalk in front of her house, flew her grandkids in to see her, and paid for their Thanksgiving meal and shit. I was like, hey, some good news in the world. How about that?
Well, they gave the prize money from the original contest.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
Oh. Now, H. Martin says I need higher standards. I don't know where I would need a higher. Oh, maybe with women. Yeah, you're probably right. You're probably right. But, you know, we all have our shortcomings, I guess. Clue, how's your hand?
I'm starting to feel it tonight, but I didn't take my pain
Can you move your hand? Can you move your finger, or you're not allowed to move it? What's going on?
No, they got it like locked in place.
It looks like she stuck her hand in a hornet's nest. They've got that thing so fucking wrapped up and padded.
Her hand has been put on a COVID type lockdown.
That's right.
Yeah.
So you really do have a one-armed girlfriend now.
I'm telling you.
Like father, like son, brother. It's just crazy.
It comes off.
That apple don't fall far from the tree, folks.
She did regain feeling in it, the next morning, so it wasn't just a dead fucking appendage. So that was probably the most fun of the whole thing.
That's just awful.
The fact that she had to pack her own arm around with her.
Now you don't have to stay on beyond the hour, but we do have 247 followers in here, or at least listeners, which is kind of cranking. It's all coming from fucking X.
Well, there
197 of them came from X.
It's because you titled it Congressional hearing.
Look at Van Savant. Look what he says. He remembers me from years ago. He was always coming into my streams. You know what he said? The prosthesis. Because that word was too big for me to even know what it meant back in the day. Matter of fact, I think that was the first time, or was the early usage of calling an artificial leg a prosthesis, or an artificial arm, or a fake arm. Remember? All this politically correct statements come out. Like today, it's not UFO, it's unidentified aerial phenomena.
Yeah.
Right? Why? Because Hillary Clinton told you all to say that. And you assholes are all saying it. I'd be yelling UFO. If I believed it had any in that, I would never allow it to be unidentified aerial phenomena. I wouldn't let the government tell me how to what words to use. Fuck them. Please.
Maybe they're just trying to tell us that they don't actually fly.
What do you mean?
Well, it's an unidentified flying object, but if these things use some sort of alternative method for hovering or moving, maybe they're just saying don't narrow it down to flying.
Well, hovering is a form of flight that's stationary. So I don't know what you're trying to explain, but there's these things they used to call encyclopedias. You might want to.
You never know. They might ride the fucking atmospheric heat waves. Okay.
You want to know how they do it? Go to Juan Perez and look up the internal mass reduction drive. Go read his patents on the internal mass reduction drive.
That sounds like zero fun and nothing I'm gonna do.
Yeah, well, you only got one arm. You can't really do much else. You might as well read.
I think they just hang from strings attached to the firmament.
Right.
Carl said the other night.
The firmament. Remember that shit? I'm like, what the fuck is that? We all live in a snow globe and we just don't realize it.
We actually did watch a show a while ago about the origins of the flat Earth theory.
Right. Where does it come from?
A lot of different places, but primarily the gist of what I got was it came from religious people in the Middle East.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah.
So are the mountains an attempt at breasts on this flat broad? What I don't understand.
I don't know. I didn't.
What was this pervert thinking when he set all of this up flat?
I couldn't hang with most of it because it was just, I don't know. It was a little not very interesting to me because I just some of the experiments that were done and the people that claimed because of the outcome of the experiments it was flat when their experiment was just fundamentally flawed and they were just quite frankly ignorant.
You want to hear something interesting? And it's the first time I've ever heard Elon Musk say this. But it's also something that I've considered, and I think others have definitely considered and talked about it. But the Great Pyramids, right? Because of the type of granite that they used inside those pyramids, you ever hear of a piezoelectric crystal?
Mm-hmm.
Remember when watches had a crystal and they'd run forever, right?
Yep.
Okay. A crystal under pressure creates a form of electricity. They refer to it as piezoelectric. And that electricity is usable as current, right? So when you look at the pyramid, you look at the construction and the mass of the pyramid and what kind of stones that were used for crucial areas like the chambers, the walkways, all the. So when you look at the type of granite used and then the weight that surrounds that granite would be the force that would allow for a piezoelectric current. And when Elon was saying this, he just said this recently. He said that that's a possibility of potential people should look at. But what actually makes that make more sense is when you go through these pyramid chambers and see all the carvings and stuff, and yet you don't see a single fucking bit of soot on any single stone from a torch that they would have. So that's what they claimed they had for light back then, torches.
Yeah.
Where's the smoke staining from torches? There isn't any. It's as clean on the ceiling as it is on the floor. So what did they use to light their way down those passages? And a piezoelectric system would explain the availability of electricity to the ancient Egyptians. So I was kind of glad that Musk came out. Whether he's right or not, whether this is true or not, isn't really important. But to me, what's nice is that there is discussion of some other purpose of these pyramids that they had found no dead bodies in. None, ever. In any pyramid, no matter how small. There's never been dead bodies in there. So they're definitely not for entombing or burying people. Right? How could they be?
Yeah.
Right? The fuck? I mean, that's insane. If there is no dead body, then there's got to be another purpose for the building of them. And why would a society commit so much time and resources? Well, if generation of a form of electricity was their goal, then the ability to build them may have been aided by said electricity as well from some of the smaller previous pyramids. I don't know. I just thought that was cool that Elon came out and said that.
Are there outlets on the walls?
We'll all die and never know anyway.
Did you hear what she said?
What?
Are there any outlets on the walls of the pyramids?
No, because electricity can be transmitted wirelessly. They can charge your phone wirelessly. You don't need to
Charge.
plug it,
I
right?
was being a smart ass.
Oh. Well, I can't. And if they were outlets, that would be cool. We do have them, but did they? I would love to know. Aliens did it all. Yeah, aliens did it. Bigfoot is coming from alien ships. Apparently, Bigfoot is a trans-dimensional creature. He's not transgender, but trans-dimensional. And apparently, people are now they're putting Bigfoot sightings together with UFO sightings. Did you know that, Cletus?
I did not know that.
Because there's nothing easier to confirm either one of these fallacies than to combine them.
And what?
Than to combine.
Oh.
How about the Loch Ness Monster? Every image has been debunked, yet people still think there's a Loch Ness Monster.
Well, I mean, hey, we still have a failed Secret Service director in office being questioned by people that allowed her to be there. So
and not only allowed her to be there, but will absolutely provide no consequences for any of the parties involved, and a new chaos will strike us soon. Something else to distract us from the imminent issue of the day, which is Trump's assassination. New crisis will come by. I don't know. Tidal wave. I don't know. Find more cocaine in the White House. Who left the cocaine in the White House in an area that none of the Biden family would ever have access to? So who put that? I think it was Blinken, the Secretary of Defense. I think that was his bag of cocaine.
I did think it was interesting that Biden chose yesterday to withdraw from the race. Like, I don't really understand the timing. Why? What did he just wake up yesterday morning and was like, yeah, I don't think I'm going to do this anymore?
No, this was always baked into it. This is not a surprise to the handlers of Biden and Kamala.
Well, I mean, I'm more just going, evaluating the root of, is it a distraction?
Yeah, of course it is.
Was it an attempt at a distraction?
Well, let me ask you a question, okay? If you're a lying criminal, right, and your criminal line is exposed and it's losing its popularity, what do? Well, you do what you're skilled to do. You create a new lie as a criminal, and you try to now change the balance of the scales.
Yeah.
Right. So this isn't remember the airplane game? I used to laugh at people. It's a Ponzi scheme. No, it isn't. You just don't know how it works. Really? I don't know how it works. I don't know. One guy says he paid. The next guy comes in to pay, right? That gives it to the guy in front of him. The next guy that comes in gives it to the guy in front of him. Eventually, okay, you're going to run out of people coming in. And the only people with the money are the guys in front of you, right? So how is that not a Ponzi scheme that they're playing? And eventually people realized what it was. But in the beginning, you can't even imagine how people were trying to get me to get on that. I just laugh at them. Like, yeah, that's what I want to do. Here, you want me to give you $1,000 fucking dollars so you could take off. That's what it was. That was why it's the airplane game. You could fly away with your $1,000. And that's exactly what you were doing. You're going to fly away with my money, motherfucker. And me, I don't even fly, okay? So that was another reason I didn't get involved with the airplane game. I don't like flying. I've never been on an airplane. I ain't sweet to get on one quick or at any time unless necessary. To me, they look like
been on it.
No.
You've never been on an airplane?
No.
Smart man.
No, I've never been on an airplane. You know why?
Why?
Well, I've my career as a human being has been automotive and the service industry for construction, right?
Yeah.
And I've seen these. I know what kind of people work on these jobs. And I just don't know. It's like carnival rides, them big, fast, crazy ones. Look at it. Just takes one bolt, bro. Just one minute on a jet engine. Just leave one bolt in front of the fucking fan. I don't know if you've ever seen that video of that guy in the aircraft carrier getting sucked into the intake of a jet engine. Right? I don't know. I know they're safe, and people say the safest mode of transportation. And I'm like, that's fine. You go do that at 35,000 feet. I'll drive below you.
Statistically, based on the number of people transported it's the safest mode. But I would argue that it's not the safest mode because you're basing that off of bullshit data.
Listen,
Because it's not a matter of how many people get transported safely. It's how many fucking times do those things get in the air, and how many of them are there, and how many times do they have fucking problems? That's the data point I want to know.
When you can pull over and get towed, I'm all up on that. Then I'm in.
Right? Yeah.
No, I would fly if there was a necessary reason for it, but I don't have that reason, and I don't. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll put that on my bucket list. And I'll tell them to fly my casket somewhere and just throw it in the fucking sea or something. Right? Make me the bucket. Fuck it.
God.
Oh man, I don't know. You've never flown?
Oh, I've flown many times.
Oh.
Not
Brian Kohlberger was the second shooter. Apparently he got out of his cage long enough to take a pot shot at Trump from the water tower. Ben, you solved the case. You are the best you got the best comment of the fucking week so far. Right? Second shooter was Brian Kohlberger.
Was it really Brian? Was it really Brian, or was it a frat boy that was dressed up to look like Brian to frame?
We have to go back to the video that Tommy Jude produced, and then we'll.
Yeah, we'll have to look.
He's probably celebrating when Trump was shot at. He probably was happy as hell. Here's a guy that, I mean, I don't hate anyone, but the hate for Putin or the hate for anybody they disagree with on that side of the aisle, these people, that's where the mental illness is. I think what happened in the day, folks, is that enough good people were just exhausted and they just didn't have enough wherewithal to continue to build institutions. And they convinced this group of lunatic fucking people to buy their own homes. That'll be your institution, right? And rent your own apartments and get your own job, but still be the lunatic. And that's what we ended up with. We've got a country where a large number of people are lunatics. They hate everything. And if you don't agree with them on anything, they hate you for that. I mean, that's what they're teaching your kids in school. They hate the American concept. They hate the American this. They hate. Everything is about hating. They hate you if you want cheap gas or cheap oil. They hate you for that. I'm stunned that this isn't like the main topic. And when you guys interact on Twitter, you ex-followers, you need to continue to say that. I don't care if what the people say is good morning, the sun came up. And I'd say, I don't want to hear that from somebody's whole life that's based on hating others that disagree with them. You don't give them any quarter, these propagandists. They're hate mongers. And you see it constantly on social media. That's why I'm so quick to just attack people and slam them and just spit on them and kick them verbally, right? Because it's just fucking gross.
Going back to you were talking about the student loans, that reminded me of something for a long time, a very long time, since I graduated college, I've had this opinion of everything I've always heard my entire life was everybody needs to go to college. Everybody needs to go to college, and I have advocated against that because I disagree firmly with that. And one of the reasons I disagree is when I started, the first time I went, there were 96 people in my class, and this was a 2-year school. When I graduated, there were 12 of us that graduated. Of those 12, over the next, 10 or 15 years, I ran into like 5 people that I graduated with. One was a locksmith. One was a cop, and the others were not doing anything with the degree that they had earned either.
Right.
And I think about that, and I think about the student loans and these people getting, going into debt for all this money and all this. And the odds are they're going to graduate college and not do a fucking thing that they use that degree that they earned for. But they're programmed, I've got to graduate high school and go to college or I'll never be anything. And it's probably the furthest thing from the fucking truth.
And the colleges have been converted into hate-producing machines.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
They don't want to understand the nature and the depth and the confusion, or even lastly, more important, they don't want to see in Israel and the Palestine conflict just how well most Palestinians and Israelis really get along. You never get to see that. Then people are silenced. That government is made up of Palestinians and Israelis. The Israeli government. I mean, it's insane. the amount of cooperation that really does exist between those two groups. And the only thing we pay attention to are the hateful terrorists that hate the Jews and sell hate constantly. But you'd be amazed at some of these people where the schools get targeted and blown up. These parents know that the terrorists are hiding in the fucking school. They're not mad at Israel for doing it. They're mad at a lot of these people are mad at the terrorists for doing what they're doing. But they're helpless and they get no microphone. And I wanted to give an example to SMD. And this is an example for everyone out there, that the gun, when we talk about the gun, there is a country in Europe where it's a mandatory for now men and women to serve in the armed services. And what's also mandatory is you take your military fucking firearm home with you and keep it the rest of your life. In that particular country, folks, you have an example of people that love and trust and cooperate with each other. There are no mass shootings or killings. The difference between that country and America is we've all been taught to hate. It's not you and me personally that we don't accept that. It's Norway. Thanks, Van. The other side of the aisle pushes hate. And when you have guns in the hands of people that hate, you have murders. The gun is never the problem, ever. It's always the people. And in our society, we need to find a way to stand up for ourselves to stop letting these Democrats call us Nazis and attack us with hate speech and label us as hateful killers. That needs to stop, and we need to counter that. That's the nature of why there is so much angst in the country and why there's, all of these chaoses and all of these shootings is because there is no longer a school of love. Where do you go to find love? Where's there a school for that somewhere I missed, Cletus?
Not that I'm aware of.
Right, but there are schools and all they do is tell you hate. They want you to hate white men because of what our ancestors did to blacks. Well, for that, then why don't I hate the blacks for what their ancestors did to my Italian heritage when they took over my fucking country? That happened. So should I walk around with that grudge for the rest of my life? Blacks are no fucking good because they conquered Sicily, where my ancestors were? Should I hate fucking blacks indefinitely because of that, Cletus? Maybe I'm missing out on something. Maybe I can join that fucking Gunther guy there. What's his name? Fat boy with the tattoos. JB.
Oh, JB.
Yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
I don't think there's any reason for hating of anything in the past. I think there's something that can be learned from it. There's a lot that can be learned from the past, and the number one thing that can be learned is how to not let it fucking occur again.
Correct. How about Joseph Goebbels? I mean, you're called the fascists and the Nazis, but Joseph Goebbels was part of the originating eugenics, and eugenics did start with American scientists. And yet, the eugenics also is the founding organization, the founding philosophy for abortion. And the whole point of eugenics and abortion is to weed the population of its infirm, its burdens, and the Negroes. That's the whole purpose of that shit. Joseph Goebbels, whatever his name is. So that's what I mean. When we know that what we're seeing the liberals preach and teach hate, they're doing exactly with their voter what Hitler did with his. And yet we're the ones being attacked as the racist and the fascist. And what do? We try to defend ourselves rather than attacking them for the utter fucking scumful, hateful pieces of shit they are. That's why you see me go off on these people that come in here like that, folks. I don't give a fuck if you're my mother. If you ascribe to that fucking philosophy, man, I'm going to fucking lambaste you like you ain't never been lambasted, ma. You better stand back, bitch. The fuck is wrong with you, honey? No, do you doubt me? Do you really think I wouldn't do that?
Oh, no, I have no doubt you would.
Yeah. So to me, I mean, allegiance and loyalty is due or earned. And when that shit's all trampled and stepped on, I don't care if the person that did it is your mom. Fuck that person. You got to go. And if you change, you're welcome to come back and show it. But otherwise, the earth ain't big enough for both of us. I'm fucked up, man. But I don't think I'm unreasonably fucked up. I think that worldview is, don't know. Maybe it's unhealthy. It's done me well. I don't know.
I don't think you're unreasonably fucked up. I feel like I'm fairly reasonable and I can deal with you. So, you know.
Yeah, I think most people can. We're climbing in the Twitter sphere. We've got 250 people from Twitter here. Now we just hit 300 viewers. So we want to welcome the X viewer. I'm sorry, Elon, if I'm saying Twitter, but it's hard not to. Cletus?
I mean, it was originally called that, so I don't know why anybody would take offense to it.
Yeah. So we're kicking up the turf over there on Twitter, and I think, to be very honest with you, we got to like relabel this, get it away from true crime, and put what we're doing in politics, maybe, even if we do cover true crime and missing kids and things of that nature. Because I think there's just too many watered down pussies that are just floating around in the true crime on fucking Twitter.
I don't think it's. I wouldn't. I don't know that I would have ever labeled it as true crime. Right. That may
None
be
of them are true crime. It's true drama.
Yeah. That may be the genre that we met through, but at the end of the day, the points that we're making apply to pretty much any genre that people are involved in.
Yeah. It's. Anyway, so yeah, I don't know. Just moving on to something. Who the fuck knows? What else is happening in life? Is work still busy and driving you nuts or not?
No, it's been. It was probably the easiest Monday I've had in months.
Well, let me tell you what I did today as a result of watching that fucking hearing. I took a cue. Listen, folks, I took a cue from my federal government today. Do you want to hear the brief story and how this came about, Cletus?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Well, so here's what happened, folks. I have a company that services homes, and we work Monday to Friday. That's just the way it is. Well, on Friday, there was no way that job could have been finished before the job we're starting today. That was supposed to be started today, right? And that was obvious to me. So I go home over the weekend. I'm not happy about it, but it is what it is. And all of a sudden, I get a call on Sunday morning. And my foreman and the crew are over there finishing that job so that they could be on time for the job Monday. Isn't that awesome?
Yeah.
I had no clue. So here's with that happening, right? That's the first time in the history of our working together that has ever happened. That's pretty fucking awesome. And they showed up and started the new job today just as they were supposed to. So here's where it gets interesting. I took a cue from the government. And here's what I did. With that amazing turn of events, with that amazing show of responsibility and commitment to the job in front of them, I decided that unlike any other day and all the time I've owned this business, I refuse to recreate, swim, or do anything until the end of a work day, even though all of those activities are available to me. I won't do it. They're all doing what they're doing. They're kicking their ass. They're working hard. I'm available. If they call, if they need something, if they got a question, I'm completely committed to it. And so for today, in line with what I learned from my government, I decided to go fucking swimming and leave my phone in my truck. I swear to God, strike me dead. That's exactly what I did.
Sarge 2024. We need to write you in as an independent.
Yeah. I mean, I thought I applied the acquired knowledge, and I thought what was the most reflective way of what I had learned.
I thought you were going to tell me something went wrong and you spent the day bitching about a problem you created.
No, everything went so right.
That would be a lesson from the government right there.
Listen, everything went so right and so well that I felt my only response was just tomfuckery the whole day.
Oh, there you go.
And then later in the afternoon, before I got out of the pool, and I was in the pool. I got out of the pool, took the phone out of the truck because I was going to call for some food, not worry about work. And the phone rang, and I answered it, and it was my foreman. And I explained to him what I just explained to you.
Well, and look at you. You ended the day just like a true government official on the fucking internet spewing bullshit.
and I got 309 people listening to it.
There you go.
So again, that worked out extremely well, I thought. And when I told my foreman that I had broken my own basic rule and have decided to swim during the day while you were working, it's like, you are a motherfucker. Are you serious? And I started splashing the water. He goes, yeah, I gotta go. And he hung up the phone.
How many people did you say are watching?
313. You can hang up on all of them if that's what you're trying to do. Yeah, I knew he was trying to do it. See, you can't outsmart the Sarge. Sarge is the man of the people. Well, I'm going to do something. I did this the other day, and I got some wackadoodle broad that came up in here. I don't know her name, but she came up here and told me that she was definitely smarter than me, and she knew things that I don't know, and she's got 2 years of college, and then I asked her, can you share with me what you know that I don't? And she had absolutely no fucking answer to that simple question. Apparently, college didn't teach her to deal with the words that come out of her own fucking mouth. And that was quite interesting. And I ended up having to just run down what kind of a maniac, ignorant, fucking dried up old hooker she is, and boot her out of here. So and so anybody like that, I would prefer you don't. But I am putting a link here in the room, in I don't know if it'll show up here. I'm going to try to put it on. I don't know if I can even put it on Twitter. Will Twitter let me do this? But if you do have the ability to communicate, like on Discord or other services, you could simply click that link, brings you into StreamYard, and then I could put you up into the area where my co-host that abandoned us was, and you can ask questions, add some information, make a new topic. You're welcome to come in and share. So we'll call this, what do they call this? An open panel. But if you are one of them lunatics like snuck in the other day, you know, I mean, if you get in, you get in, but just be prepared to be insulted and terrorized and, you know, given the old fucking welcome out the fucking door from Sarge. Most definitely. You can come in here too if you don't mind that. Let's see. Sarge is man of the people. She was still talking on mute. Does anybody know that person's name? Does that person have that person's got to have their own personal stream channel? That person was absolutely off the fucking wall. There was no reservation for her. There aren't enough planets in the entire known and unknown universe that would provide a reservation for somebody like that. And yet here she is on fucking YouTube. Start spreading hate again. No, I don't hate people. You can't hate people who are ignorant. Ignorance is not hateable. Someone being a handicap, not hateable. Somebody being a different color, you can't hate them. Can't hate people for being different, for people that are disadvantaged, for people that have been trapped in the system of ignorance and they've been taught to hate. You can't hate them back, but you certainly can show them without any fucking question just how hateful they are in the mirror. And that's basically what I'm doing there, SMD. As I'm holding the mirror up to these filthy, fucking hateful, ignorant fucking pieces of shit. And, you know, again, the best part about that is you can change that. Because I've learned in life, it takes as much time to be stupid as it does to be brilliant. You could also probably say it probably takes as much time to be polite as it does to be a crude motherfucker like me. And I'll have to agree with you on that too. I could have taken the other path and maybe I could have found a more polite con man kind of way like you get from Pavarotti, or you get from Harsh, or you get from fucking A.R. Hayes, or you get from fucking Tommy Jude. Maybe I could come up with some kind of delivery method that was more soothing to the ear and you know, more able to con people instead of just being the you know, the way I am. And don't think I don't consider trying to do that. And believe me when I tell you, it would be me having to try to do it. It would be unusual for me to not be the flow being who I am and say how I feel in no uncertain terms. And then sometimes it's a very vulgar terms. Yeah, and I agree with that. You can't fix stupid with duct tape. So that's really the reason you see that I will go. You can't read books. That's what Google says. So there you go. Yeah, and when I was in politics before, I spent a whole bunch of time watching hearings. Are they boring? Yeah. Yeah. But you could skip through those hearings even when they're live. You know, when somebody gets up in a hearing where President Trump was shot in the fucking face and you want to start talking about gun control, I know I got time to go scramble up a couple eggs, take a shit. I know I got time to. So the hearings don't need to interrupt with your day. In other words, you don't have to sit there for 5 hours. Literally, you don't. Because you could bounce through, and you can even tell on some of the people that are asking questions that you might have an interest in that it's just a duplicate question. So even live hearings can be skipped through. And I usually wait, I give them a head start. So I'll give a hearing an hour or two head start, and then I'll jump in so that I can do that to move through it faster. That's one of the ways I research. That's one of the ways I try to collect information that's like outside the norm or in the norm, but just people aren't watching those hearings. Those hearings matter. Indoctrination is the same as being educated by any means. Yeah, I agree with you, Carl. And the sad part is it's an indoctrination into hate. You hate me because I don't agree with killing a baby in the womb. I don't understand your hate for me. Why is it, God, why do I have to be hated because my position is different than yours? I don't care what your reasoning is. It's not going to change my mind. And I don't suspect that my reasoning is going to change your mind. Right? So let's just let it go. But don't you got to hate me for that? That's what they're taught to do on every single topic they disagree with. If you disagree at all, they hate you. There's a video of a Trump rally. I don't know what city it was in. But this black left-wing Hillary voter, okay? Maybe it was a Biden voter was there. Might have been a Biden voter. Is in a crowd of demonstrators, or he called them protesters exercising their First Amendment right. And he's talking to people from Trump's side, from the people trying to get into this arena. They came over and they're talking to him. And then eventually he agrees to go over to the Trump side to interact with those people. And he's throwing out the talking points that the liberals throw out at us. And everybody was, and his big concern was, as a black man, I don't see anybody that represents me here. They're like, well, why don't you join us and represent yourself? Am I going to be safe in there? So there was this bravado of liberalism and left-wing fucking hate. He associates and goes through this process with the Trump side for, say, half an hour. And then him and a couple of the Trump people, but specifically him, go back over to the left-wing side where he started. And they all started yelling at him. They didn't want to talk to him. They started taking bullhorn Betty right up to his fucking face. And he said, you better get that out of my fucking ear. But he started to get treated just like a Trump voter had been being treated. The same group of people that he was protesting with, supporting with, and fighting for, now we're treating him the way they treat us. And the guy was stunned. Those kind of things, for whatever reason, get lost in the fucking Twitter sphere. They get lost on the internet. And we don't spend enough time focusing on things like that. They're told on the left that we hate black people, that we turned on them. And here's the most ironic thing of all, is the argument that we turned was based on a bill that President Johnson signed only because that bill could have been overruled in the Senate. There were enough votes to overrule it. So Johnson signed it and said, these niggers will never vote for Republican for the next 50 years. He didn't say Negroes, okay? Anybody that tries to say Johnson didn't use the word nigger is lying to themselves, because that's exactly the word he used. That's exactly the generation. That's exactly the time when that word was common. The word Negro didn't even really have any place in society back then. You sick fucking history twisting pieces of crap. And he's about absolutely right, because now we're 50 years or a little bit beyond the 50-year anniversary of him signing that bill that he had no choice to sign. And now the black population is really starting to question the Democratic Party. There's so many streamers out there, folks, that are black, that are showing the Margaret Sanger truth, that are showing the eugenics, that are showing how many abortions, how many people have been lost, how many lies have been told, how many cons that they've been given, and they've been conditioned and trained that the Democratic Party was the party for them. And there's millions of them coming awake, folks. There literally is. There was a CNN panel, and 2 women and a man, and that were black were supporting Biden, and 2 women and a man that were black were supporting Trump. How amazing is that? I mean, I don't know what we need to do as a group of people, but somehow that message that we are really the people that could give a fuck what you look like. And your character means everything to us. Your character means everything. It's all that matters. A please and a thank you goes a long way. And that side of the aisle, unfortunately, our brothers and sisters that look different than us have been conditioned to hate us because that's what they were told. We've been framed to be their enemy. And they use some outrageous fucking topics, man. The illegal immigration topic shouldn't even be an argument. There should have never be an instance where people could just mass migrate across our border without being stopped. I don't give a fuck what year it is. That just shouldn't be a thing. But now you're going to say that my saying that makes me a racist and you can hate me because I'm a racist against these people? You go tell that to the families of the fucking young women that have been raped and slaughtered. You go tell that to the 500,000 women and children that go missing, that cross that border and get sold into slavery and sex trade across the globe. You can't use those facts on them people. But those are the reasons why I'm against that immigration. I'm not against the human being, not against the person. I don't give a fuck what they look like. And I say that there's got to be millions of good people come across that border. I don't question that at all. But those millions of good people that desired to come across this border, those people would actually wait in line. That's the funny thing about a good person. Good people will follow the fucking rules. And so that's why my views on the border are what they are. But the same thing when we man, it's just practical common fucking sense. Of course you want somebody, if their dream is to come and live here, man, I'm proud of America if you dream to come live amongst us. That means we're doing our jobs as Americans. Right? And what have we turned this into? It's turned not into a melting pot, but a money pot that's going bankrupt. I was talking to a woman earlier that worked with our diocese where I live. And she agreed with me when I said to her that all the churches that enabled this immigration to happen, all the Catholic charities, all the diocese of the Roman Catholic Church, all the 501c3s, all of those people and all of the board of directors and all of the top positions need to be put on blast. Because the movement of these people, the feeding, the clothing, the housing of these people are facilitated by the organizations I just gave you. They're getting paid by the government to do this, and they're doing it for the money, not for what's right for this country, not what's right for the person that's being encouraged to cross that border, but for money. And that goes with the churches where some of your priests turned out to be pedophiles. Those organizations are involved. And those are the things we need to target non-violently, but with our voice. You want to control illegal immigration? Then go after the corporations that make it possible. Fuck the government. Fuck the government. Fuck their policy. You just need to hold those fucking companies to account, folks. You need to put them on blast. You need to take your money away from anything they're doing. You need to object to any transaction that they're making to enable this crime to be committed against us. Imagine this, folks. I don't care who you voted for on all of the period of time that you've been alive. I think that this statement is a unifying statement. I don't think there's one person in this country that could argue that with $34 or $36 trillion in debt and nothing to show for it except wars and death and crime, I don't think anybody would have the balls to say they wouldn't have rather had universal health care. If you're going to argue that health care being paid for all, and there still could be private systems involved, let me be clear, but a sensible health care system paid for by the taxpayer is a bad idea, okay, versus what they really did with your fucking money, there's something wrong with you. There's literally something wrong with you. Because the money is spent, and it obviously it was going to be spent. And if you had those two choices, I don't think a single soul in America would choose for what they did with that money. Yeah, you could still make the argument on the arguments that were made against universal health care. I'm not saying that those arguments don't hold any water, but I think they hold so little water when you weigh it up against what we really ended up with. Rather than health care, good, bad, or indifferent, we ended up with $36 trillion in debt, not a fucking thing to show for it, but millions of dead bodies. So really, folks, aren't there places where we can find common ground? Aren't there places based on history that we can observe, that we could find a place where we can actually do something good for each other, even if we're not doing it for each other? Like I bring up with the privacy agreements on these websites, how we as a group should use our voice to go after X on our private data. You know, I'll give you an example, folks. You want to hear something interesting? So I was politically involved and I did some contributions and I did purchase different items. And so in other words, I did enact with political businesses or political affiliated organizations. And I keep getting text messages from them. Okay. Well, at the bottom of the text message, it says that you can cancel this by typing the word stop. Okay. And so I have. And the interesting thing is the tweets from Rick Grinnell, the tweets from Donald Trump Jr., the tweets from several others no longer, not tweets, I'm sorry, text messages to my phones. I'm mistaken it. My text message spam from my phone no longer includes any of the organizations that I typed in the word stop. They no longer have any contact with me. However, the simple fact that I typed in stop on several of them alerted them that I was a live call, that I was a live person, and they sold my data to somebody else. And now I'm getting their fucking spam on my fucking phone. That's what happens. Is that and why aren't we outraged and screaming and fucking yelling about this? When I told you stop end, it didn't mean that now you could acknowledge and make my person more valuable to you, and you could go and sell that shit off to fucking Ron DeSantis, you fuck. You see, people say I get vulgar, and I think for the right reason. Who the fuck do they think they are doing that to me? I'm not the only guy. It happens to all of you. And yet, where's our outrage on that? Where's our talk on Twitter about that? Where are the streamers on YouTube going against that? Oh, no, we can't do that. Let's bring up a fucking water tower. Let's bring up 3 fucking shooters. Let's listen to some jerk off that recorded the fucking microphone shots off the internet. Let's go watch some guy with video. Right? Let's go do all that fucking bullshit. No, I understand that, but what the point, I do get that, but I did this also for a reason. I knew that was going to happen, but then I really wanted to see it in real time. And that's exactly what the fuck happened. And it's just, even if you delete or block, deleting or blocking them is still, they know that you took an action against them. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I can't imagine them not knowing that you've been blocked. Because if I block you on here, you know I've been blocked. Do those things that generate that spam, are those machines aware that you blocked them? And if they are, because just deleting them doesn't do nothing. They're going to keep sending it. Right? But does the act of blocking them, is that equal to the act of writing in the word stop? And I suspect it fucking is. Now, I could be wrong, folks. But I know for a fact that when you type in the word stop, you become a hot fucking commodity from them to sell. So any of those apps that you get to get a lower insurance price or political stuff or shop for car insurance, and you enter into these applications online or on your phone, that data now becomes a source of revenue for that fucking company. And interacting with it just makes you more valuable to them because they know you're a fucking warm-blooded human being on the other end of that phone. So those are the things that we don't even discuss or go into. And that's what shocks me here, because these truths, these realities, they exist because we do nothing about them. And yet we don't even want to accept that we're our own biggest enemy. We're our own biggest fucking problem. And like I had talked to a woman today that was, I said that anyway, This device called the internet is the most godly fucking thing that's ever been put at the feet of a human being. This device called the internet is the most godly fucking power the common man has ever had. More powerful than a nuclear weapon or a gun. And yet, we've allowed them to convince us it's a fucking toy. We've allowed them to convince us that it's where we go for our programming. We willingly come here every day to be programmed. We willingly engage in topics that'll bear no fruit, that'll solve no problem, that'll cure no fucking child. That's what we do on this fucking internet. And it's crazy. It's like the presence of God is before you, and you don't even attempt to use it for good. Now, I'm not a religious man at all, folks, at all. I'm just not. I have what I believe, and it's not anybody's fucking business what I believe. But I'm not a stupid man. I may be thought of as Forrest Gump, but even Forrest Gump had his brilliant fucking moments regardless, didn't he? You know, we have at our disposal the most fucking epic weapon ever. The most epic peacemaking device ever. The most epic unifying device. The most epic device to share love that we've ever had in humanity's history that we're aware of. And man, there's just so little, if anyone out there pointing this shit out to us or even trying to lead that march. Where are these big talking heads like Joe Rogan, Elon, all these other people, the Tuckers, the fucking, any of them? I don't care, the Bonginos of the world, the major Twitter contributors that you follow, the major streamers that you follow. Where are any of them saying that, what? Oh my God, imagine if we tried to use the internet for a solution to something. Anybody got any ideas what maybe we could all get together and solve? Where is that fucking voice? Where is it? We just don't seem to have that voice. We all know that the assassination attempt on President Trump is going to turn into a quagmire of no accountability, drama, arguments, anger, and other people telling you it's a shame he wasn't killed. The haters are going to injecting their hate in between your angst and your outrage is going to be then poked by hate. And then you have to deal with that. And no answers. And nobody's accountable. And what do we do on the internet? We just share our outrage. We just share our fucking, and then decide that there was that shot had to come from the grassy knoll. That's it. We just make decisions with no fact to support them. Observation, deduction to some extent, but no solid fact. No fact that we could put our hands on. There's another shooter on the water tower. There's not a single fact to support that. And the only fact that you can call a fact is one that your own mind is playing tricks on you with, because that guy told you what to see before he even showed you the picture of the fucking tower. That guy told you what to see before he ever showed you the fucking drawings that he put forward. And yet you don't understand that that's how people get programmed. You're told what the outcome is before you ever get to observe it intellectually, independently. Independent intellectual observation of data is paramount to thinking. Okay? I think Candace Owens is a fucking twit. No, I won't follow Candace Owens either. No. She's with that Charlie Kirk and those other fucking outrage dealers. I'm tired of Ben Shapiro showing me how fucking smart he is. He doesn't offer up a single fucking solution when he has these debates or these discussions with college people, or he goes to these. He's on there, he's fucking stroking his peacocking his own fucking jerk off ass around is what he's doing. He makes tits out of bull a desirable scientific fucking achievement, in my opinion. Okay. I think a bull with titties and a big cock would be fucking awesome. Perfect for the fucking times. And I say that because I think Ben Shapiro should usher that fucking movement in. Most of these people I can't fucking stand because they push the ignorance onto the minds of the fucking viewer constantly. And we're so comfortable with being ignorant. We're so comfortable with not having to do a solitary independent review of the information by taking what other people tell us it means, what other people tell us you're seeing. We're so fucking lazy and so willing to go that way. And then argue about what streamer's real, what one's telling the truth, what. These people don't even know they're doing it themselves, folks. Listen, I'm caught in the same fucking loop. I'm jumping out as much as I can. but I'm part of the same fucking loop as the rest of you. I'm fighting back against it, and I'm trying to share with you what I'm finding in my struggles. It's like there's no allies here. I got, there's 330 of you in here now, so I thank you for being here. But come on, folks, we need to start getting friends and allies and other people that you talk to, a DM, and come up with going after user agreements, going after the fucking people that have enabled the border, going after the people, not going after for violence, folks, but for exposure, for sunlight. Sunlight is your weapon, not fucking violence, not guns, not threats. Sunlight. And this machine gives you the ability, folks, to find out where the fuck I was last Tuesday. If you really want to get down and dig into stuff, right? Look at all these amazing researchers on our side of the fucking aisle. Amazing researchers, whether it be even some of the stuff in true crime people have found. It's amazing. And we waste our skills and talents arguing and fighting propaganda and conspiracy theories. It's fucking insane, man. I'm besides myself. I walked away from 4 years ago because I don't think 4 years ago when I walked away, I could actually put a name to what it was that was disturbing me. It took me I had to walk away completely. I mean, Van will tell you that. 2021, I walked off. I didn't come back here until 2023. February 2023 was when I got back into social media to some extent. And then I jumped into true crime, paid attention to that. My friend has a penis for a bong. Well, that's interesting. I mean, up in the club on Tuesday, that's, yeah. Tell her maybe she should have a bong and a real penis as, two separate things. But, again, common sense doesn't even exist on this planet. And we all argue and we all say that we've got common sense. I get a kick out of all you folks that say, I don't listen to mainstream media anymore. No, you don't. But guess what? You come out here on YouTube and Twitter and do exactly what they're doing. How you like them fucking apples? You aren't watching them. You're doing what they're doing to you. You're doing it to people around you, especially when you start going down these conspiratorial roads and ignoring solutions on any of the issues that you might have. There's a solution for everything. And yet those are never really discussed. And if they are discussed, it's like here, where one guy like me will say it, or someone will tweet about it, or they'll post something on Facebook, wherever the fuck you go. And then nothing ever comes of it. Correct, Carl. And those terms of service can be something like, I don't need an app to buy your 99-cent hamburger, McDonald's. And if you're going to stop taking cash, you're going to require me to have an app somewhere down the road, then I'll just never buy anything from McDonald's again. It's not that fucking difficult. I'm not playing that fucking game. I go into an auto parts store, I give them the wrong name, wrong phone number, wrong address. They want your personal information. What do you need that for? I just want that fucking can of starter fluid. That's all I want. Can't I just have that? Well, we got to put something in the system. Oh, okay. Well, here you go. My name is fucking Yuri Mabalzich. Okay. Yeah, that's what my name is. Yuri Mabalzich. And that's the shit they get from me because it's just nonsense, man. Now, if we lived in a society where we all were able to trust each other and we lived in commonality and we enjoyed whatever we enjoyed and we don't infringe upon each other's behavior and we're all pretty much doing well, then I don't mind some of these modern intrusions. They wouldn't be to me viewed as intrusions, right? But today, these are all these modern things that you're seeing, all the spam, all the ads, all the chaos, all the following, all the tracking is an intrusion because it's there to provide revenue for somebody. You're not simply doing it for the convenience of me being a fellow fucking human being living on Earth, right? You're doing it to sell product to make money, period, end of story. And I don't need to be fucking infected with that every day. I earn money, I'll spend it when I want. I don't need you to track me around and prod me along with fucking ads that show up on my Facebook or ads that come up on my phone. It's fucking insane, folks. And none of you disagree with that. That's the best thing. None of us disagree with that. Yet none of us are doing anything to stop it. None of us. Your politicians are never going to do it. But I tell you, I guarantee you, I can't guarantee it. That's probably going too far. But I think that there's evidence to make an argument that Elon Musk would capitulate if hundreds of thousands or millions of users demanded that his user agreement include putting every person's information in a lockbox that cannot be sold or observed by anybody except that user or law enforcement with a warrant. I can't even imagine that if enough people on X started asking for that Elon wouldn't comply. And if he doesn't, then you leave and you go to True Social, you go to Gab, you go somewhere else. I don't go nowhere, for God's sakes. Just get out of there. Download all your data if it's that important to you. There's that option. Download it all. Go to the store, buy a fucking hard drive or whatever, store it. Download all the shit if it means that much to you. And then get the fuck off of X. Just leave. Listen, if he had 2 or 3 or 4 million people up and leave on a fucking single day, right? That would be a big problem because that could set a fucking precedent that he wouldn't want to have. And I think that he would want to avoid that mess. Do it to Trump Social. Do it to YouTube. Do it to McDonald's to buy a 99-cent hamburger. That's the point I'm making. We could do this with everything. Remember, they're targeting us. Where do you think their revenue comes from? Us. And so we just turn the ball around and start targeting them with demands. If they can't meet the demands, well, it was, I fucking hope you enjoyed being the company you've been all these years, but have a good day. Or prior to even while moving off, you make sure that everything these people are refusing to do, or any of the people that are involved in those decisions, they get sunlight shining. That these are the enemy of American freedom. These people are the enemy of American privacy. And you start showing a light. Now, never ever with the intention of any anger or violence being sent their way, but with just pure facts. Elon will not protect the user agreement. He will not protect user data. He won't put it in lockbox. Shine the light on Elon. Shine it on his board of directors. Shine it on the people that run that corporation. That's what you do. And that folks, listen, we know that works. Here's the other thing that makes me crazy is the ignorance is so profound, is that we know that works. We know that works. Look at the damage we did to Budweiser over the commercial with the transgender. Look at the financial damage we did to Budweiser. My point is we know it works. But the point is, are what we're doing it for the right reasons to benefit everybody? Right? And that's typically doesn't usually work out that way. Right? We only want to, so like the attack on Budweiser. I mean, do you really care if a homosexual, a black, a China guy, a fucking Asian, a fucking transgender, a fucking lesbian? Do you really give a fuck if they drink Budweiser? No. And if you do, there's something the fuck wrong with you. So, okay, these people, they do, in reality, they exist. Not in numbers that we exist, but they do exist. So if there were, I don't know that there is, but if there were 1 million transgenders, I don't think there is, but even if there were, and even if there's more, who gives a fuck? But they are a purchasing block of individuals, so let the guy advertise to them. Who cares? Does it got to be the Marlboro Man in order for you to drink that beer? The answer is no. If you like the beer, drink the beer. If you disagree with if their message is anti-family, if their message is negative to a cohesive existence among each other, then you go after the people that created that message. You don't try to destroy the corporation itself at first. You want to take and shine light on the scumbags that put this forward, this ad campaign, right? Which some of that happened, but more of that needed to happen because it wasn't just one person. There were a lot of people that are responsible in a corporation for decisions. That's why they're all management heavy. And all of them need to be exposed, and all of them need to be trotted out to the sunlight to explain their fucking reasoning. And we just, for whatever reason, we have such a capacity to do that on here. And it's like we need a central scrutinizer. Cletus will love that I remembered the fucking term. Or a website or something. And like I said, if people are skilled or know how to set something like this up where a whole bunch of people can leave a comment or a form where they can come there and pick up where they could send their emails. I mean, I'd be happy to fund that. I'm not a millionaire by any means, but something like that shouldn't cost more than a few grand. Or at least somebody with knowledge that talk to me about something like that. I welcome that too. Because we do not need to start as a small group to at least start leading the charge, to at least, put our fucking poison out there and say, look, this is what we want to do to help accomplish this goal. And start, leaving links to it where we tweet, leave our links to where we post on Facebook, leave our links where we can on social media, and move from there. I don't know how she raised 50 million and a half. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I think Biden had $250 million. I think he had 250 million already. I don't know, but that's what I mean. It's all these multinational corporations, these donors. They set up 501c4s, I think it's called, or C3, and then non-governmental. And they set and they go and they then campaign on behalf of that person, independently of that person, without any cooperation between that person and that fund. Right? Like what Elon Musk is doing. Elon Musk can't sit down with Donald Trump and all his people and work out ads for Trump, because then that $45 million would be considered a personal donation by Elon. And that's like $45 million above the maximum limit for one person. So, I mean, so there's a process that and under which she got that 50 million. It's donors. It's these big money fucking donors. These people that run your country. You don't run the country. Your vote doesn't change your country. Your vote. The only way you're going to change this country is if those same very people are held to account through exposure to the light. That's what listen, folks. Here's the best part about what I'm telling you. Here's the best part about what I'm telling you, because it just dawned on me. Is what you would be doing is the media's job. The fourth branch of government is basically what I'm suggesting, that we pick the reins up and do what they're not fucking doing. And it's not that hard of a thing to do. There are things in the process or in the setup of that I'm telling you, I'm not familiar with, and I could use help, guidance, direction, somebody to do something, pay. Okay. But that's what your fourth branch of government is doing. All I'm sharing with you is, see, if they were doing that, then you and I would have a society that isn't stuck in the mode of hate that we're stuck in. If they asked critical questions and put up and did their review and found the facts and gave people the facts, you're going to end up with people having to compromise, because the facts aren't going to favor one side over the other for the most part. Or they're going to favor one side that's opposite of current thoughts and current ideas. They're going to show those ideas were bad ideas, or false, or bad idea. And your media is supposed to be doing this. That's why I always go after these big talking heads. They're considered media, the Bonginos of the world, the Handys of the world, the Tuckers of the world, the Rogans of the world, and all the others of these big fucking followers. They're the ones that are supposed to be leading this charge, or at least could lead this charge. I say should be, because in my opinion, they are part of the fourth branch of government. They are the press. So, all right, folks. Ugh. I'm actually going to call this an evening. I'm very, very grateful, to be very honest with you, for X. I mean, all you viewers on X, there's 30 on let me refresh to be accurate. There's 60 likes and 30 people watching me on YouTube. So I do want you folks on Twitter to know that you can go to my profile and come in through YouTube if you'd like. And I have no objection to you being on X. The only catch-22 with you guys being on X is we can't communicate. I can't chat with you in the chat room like I can on YouTube. That's like sending an email or a direct message. Basically, that service is available here. Like, I don't know. Can you see what I just said? Van Savant, can you see what I just said on Twitter? Can you go back and look? So I don't know how this works on your phones, but I think that's the problem with the chat option on X, that if you're using a phone, you may not have this available, or you might not know how to set it, or what key you got to hit to get to it. But that, so for your viewers on X, that definitely is one of the features that just doesn't come through. And I wish it would, because there's 303 of you there. See it? Thanks, Van. So Van's telling me when I chat, even on YouTube, in the chat queue, when I put up what I want to put up, it doesn't show to the subscribers that are watching. And that's why I say I don't know what the hell's going on with this system. It should. You're on Twixter. Yeah, I know you're on Twitter, but you're not seeing my chat on Twixter, right? I think that's what you told me. So, folks, that's why I say that it is available to you on YouTube. That the link that I post that would allow you to come up here and talk with me or present your own idea. The link that I present does come up on YouTube. It does come up on, I believe it even comes up on Rumble. No, it doesn't come up on Rumble, but it does on YouTube, ironically. So just keep that in mind. That you ex folks are welcome to jump up on YouTube if that's available to you for the chat feature or the talk feature. And that's it for the night, folks. This is Sergeant Friday with Your Ass Hurts News Network from the top of Cock Tower in Beijing, China. I want to thank you all for coming out tonight, and I hope I see you. We'll be back tomorrow at 9.